Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Benjamin Ibarra Sevilla. I'm an associate professor here in the School of Architecture and also director of advanced studies, the historic preservation program. Um, I have been uh, charged with the introduction for tonight's lecture. And it is a pleasure for me to introduce to you Daniel Escotto, who is actually a good friend of mine. Um, so I don't want to miss anything, so I'm going to go through something I wrote here. So it is a great honor for me to introduce today's speaker, Daniel Escotto, a scholar, architect, urban planner, and visionary whose work has profoundly shaped the discourse on architecture and urbanism in Mexico. But more than that, Daniel is someone I have had the privilege of knowing for the past around 30 years, right? I know we look younger, but yes, it has been. But we went to kindergarten together. We can believe that, right? Over these 3 decades, I have followed his trajectory with profound admiration, witnessing his dedication to not only the built environment, but also the social and cultural fabric that architecture shapes. Now, knowing Daniel for 30 years also means I have seen him in all kinds of situations. And I don't mean partying, right? It's professional work only. Intense design debates, passionate discussions about urban policy, and even, on occasion, running late to a friend's hangout because he got lost in a conversation about a particularly well-designed plaza. His love for urban design is so deep that if you walk with him through Mexico City, you should be prepared to stop every 5 minutes in an impromptu lesson on what makes the urban fabric unique, urban flow, or why a particular corner or pedestrian-friendly sidewalk is a masterpiece. Those of you who went with Daniel to Mexico last week, raise your hand if you are around. You probably can attest of this, right? And they say, yeah, that's right. I think you came back with kind of foot pains, right? Daniel's career is a testament to the power of architecture as a force for social responsibility. With a master's in architecture from the Polytechnic University of Catalonia in Barcelona, he has spent over 20 years shaping minds at UNAM's School of Architecture, while simultaneously leading transformative urban projects in Mexico. His expertise extends across architectural history, the social production of housing, and the politics of public space, topics that remain as urgent today as ever. From his instrumental role in the UNESCO's World Heritage Site designation of UNAM's Central University City campus, to his leadership in remaining public spaces in Mexico City, and reimagining, public spaces in Mexico City, Daniel's work has left an indelible mark on cities and communities. But what sets Daniel apart is not just his scholarship or his professional impact, but his unwavering commitment to the social and ethical responsibilities of architecture and urban planning. He has dedicated his career to understanding how cities evolve, who they serve, and how they can be shaped more equitably for future generations. His insights into urban development, public policy, and heritage conservation are invaluable. And it is a privilege for us to have him here at UT Austin School of Architecture this semester. So without further ado, Please join me in welcoming Daniel Escotto. We are truly fortunate to have him as part of our community. And if you ever find yourself in Mexico City with him, just make sure to wear comfortable shoes because you will be going on a walk tour whether you like it or not. Please join me to welcome Daniel with a round of applause.
Thank you. Again, thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. Thanks, Benjamin, for the introduction. It was too hard. I'm not really sure to have accomplished all the things, but I'm pretty happy to be a visiting professor this semester here in the SOA. And I don't know, I think there are many things to learn. I'm going to talk about learning because it's the way we pass our lives all the time, learning. And I'm going to do a cut here, trying to mix. Then I'm going to show to you a presentation. I'll try to be very, very, very free. We have more than 40 minutes, so I decide to present 2 moments of this career that I've been involved in. And I choose it because we just went to Mexico City with students here. They can attest and they can not let me lie for anything that you're going to saw. Like this photo that I love is from a friend that means many things. We can destroy the image, explaining many things about a city like Mexico City that you may know or you have seen in photos. And I have to say something more than this background. I have to explain always. We need to explain where we come from. I'm a professor of history and theory of architecture. I studied in the UNAM in Mexico City. And then I went to this place, to Barcelona, in the late 1990s to understand what was happening. I was there for postgraduate studies in history and in theory and arts and architecture. And I learned more than that there because I need to work. So I ran out of money, so I need to pay the rent. And I didn't know exactly what was happening. I was educated as an architect in Mexico, like many of you, in many schools of architecture, just with the architecture and urban design, just like a product, like elements, maybe not seen connected in the social conception. And here I understand in Barcelona how it really worked, everything, because I was young, because I was very lucky, and I'm considered a very lucky guy all through my life, and to be here also. To work, I was working in a firm that they dedicate all the works to the public space production. And I did not understand that thing of the public space in that time, not really as many years after that. And I was involved like a draftsman, obviously, just with this plaza in the 2000s that was very prized in Barcelona, and a very well-known Plaza Lesseps and many other places in Barcelona. So I was studying history and theory in architecture, and at the same time I was doing something that is not considered architecture. It's the void. It's something that maybe we will find at the end how a building is attractive just because we have the public space. The architecture itself cannot be understood without all the open space surrounded. So, but that times I was close in that in this Central European way of thinking and the ideas of Jean Gell. I hear it in. I can attend classes with him, hearing by himself how to explain many things. And this sentence for me is very important thing. Sometimes I say that even today we know much more about other habitats more than our human habitats, the urban human habitat. So, but I like this other one from a philosopher, Spanish philosopher, that arrived to Mexico in the hard times of the República. The city is above all a plaza. It says an agora, discussion, eloquence. People built a house to live in it, and people found the city to leave the house and meet others. Just because that. There's no other reason. For me, the image that can explain the last sentence is this one. It's Mexico City. It's the entrance to the Chapultepec Park, our Silker Park, for you to get it. The most important open green area, as understood as a green area. It's not a demonstration. It's Sunday morning when the gates are open, you know. And in the background, there are some skyscrapers and one axe that I'm going to explain to you in this situation. And as I told you, I choose just 2 moments of my career to explain how lucky I was. The first one is to study in a campus that now it's, as you heard Benjamin saying, that we could have the honor to be in the list of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. I was in charge because of the history and theory background. I could wrote the dossier for that inscription, and everything started there. And the second moment was after that, in the Mexico City public space renaissance. I call it renaissance. Many of them in Mexico call it renaissance in the last 2 decades. The campus of the UNAM is a really nice campus. I'm always doing some relation, as you will hear me, relations with Barcelona. Now I'm doing the relation with Austin because there are many things. I really love this campus, and I can see many relations, how we used, how the people that we are in the campus, how we live, how we make community, how can we teach to the city, to the next level. And I'm going to explain that. Well, first of all, I'm a historian, so I need to do history of things. UNAM's foundation, 16th century, it's the oldest in operation nowadays in the whole continent. I don't want to see other ones like the same size. I'm going to be very brief here. The university district was this neighborhood in the center of the town, in the historical center of Mexico City. All the dots you will see there are the buildings for many faculties, many schools. So we're gonna get back to this map, but I want to show it to you how it used to look like the life in the center of the town with this university. Many campuses in the world has this dynamics of the university, the life of the students' life. So once we got in rebellion, we got our autonomy. When I mean autonomy, the UNAM, it's a real autonomy university. So government gives money to the university, and we do what we decide to. It's more than 350,000 people in this campus with the budget from the government. And there's no, as I explained to the students there is no police, there is nothing. Nobody can get into the place without permission of the university. But it's open, got no fences. It's no closed. Well, we jump to the creation of the University City campus. It's by the mid-20th century. We decide, I'm not using Google anymore, so I'm so sorry. Mexico and Mexico City is in the not almost center, but in the main space of the center of Mexico country. Then this is the shape of Mexico City. We call it now CDMX. I don't know why. We are in this mood of the war. And the campus is in the south part of the city. But I like to explain from the sensitivity of the ground, of the place, why someone decide to move a campus that works, that make all dynamics of the city center to the south. Because there was a place that not only the designers of the campus saw, also Luis Barragan. You may know Luis Barragan as one of the most eminent architects in the 20th century. They noticed this rocky land. So Mexico City is something very, I don't know, controversial, because by one side we are over a lake, but in the other side, in the south side, it's a rocky land. A rocky land that you can see it here. A precious, a very something that touches the soul. Luis Barragan understood that landscape, and a group of architects, they consider they can do something in that place. The result is the campus. The campus is divided in, as many of campus you know it, with the sport fields, with the school zones, with the faculties, with this is the main zoning. This is 1954 already built. This is the first day of class in March of 1954. And this is how it looks like. I'm going to be just very quickly with the images. I have many. But the importance of this campus is something that it's always related with all Mexican architecture. It's not only the building itself, but all the surrounding, all the open space, all the public space, the center space. So we cannot understood as Mexicans the relation with nature. That's something very important. And that's something that I can read here in Austin, when there are those relations with nature, with the river, with the front, you know, with some planning that we may discuss later, but we have many things in common, and it's obvious that the results of this kind of thinking is good architecture. So the campus, it's a mixture, is this kind of a connection between the past and the present. Modern architecture with the soil, with the ground, with the rocks, and with the open spaces. All these open spaces, with the most important thing there is the central space, you know, the green space. Yeah, buildings are a very good, detailed, and very well designed. Obviously, the Central Library, you have seen images of Juan O'Gorman's murals. But we made a trip last week, and we were here in Uxmal. So we can see how that's something very natural for Mexican architects to relate it with nature, with the central space, with the courtyard, with all the buildings surrounding the most important thing, that is that void, that thing that cannot be designed just in a piece of paper. It's designed with all the complex. So you can see the relation. There are many other sites, archaeological sites in Mexico. I just took this one because we were there last week. And this is the buildings for the humanities, medicine and biological sciences. Everything is related with art, modern architecture, Le Corbusier's principles of pilotis, and you know, modern architecture like that. This is the School of Architecture, in fact. We call it arts, but it's only architecture. This is the front of the school. And this is the Dean's Tower. And all the landscape that I'm telling you about. But the importance of this, it's in fact a lesson of nature and pathways and all that things. We inscribed the campus in the list of the UNESCO because of we matched with three criteria points of the six from UNESCO. In 2007, this is the main central campus. You can see all the pressure from the east to the west. Obviously, you can see this is a high-income neighborhood, and this is a low-income neighborhood. What is very interesting in the campus is that from Monday to Friday, maybe Saturdays, it's full of students and professor workers and university people. But Saturdays and Sundays, it's a park in itself. It's a park that it's open most for these people that they need, as you can see it here. There are green areas, they have patios, they have many. It's architecture from Luis Barragán, from El Pedregal dueling, that here you can see that they need this space. So people learn how to ride a bike, learn how to drive a car. They go to run on Mondays to walk with the pet, etc. But everything in the pictures, they look very phenomenal, you know. But the real is this one. The real, to a city like that happens exactly what all the cities, all the problems that have the cities. This is as I told you, 350,000 people or users of the campus. So the car, it's making these great problems. You know, 3 lanes of cars, those are parked. This is the only one that used to move. This is School of Architecture. Fences over all places. So everything like any other city, as I told you. We have this phenomenal Olympic Stadium. You can see the parking lot it's empty. It used to be used only every 15 days when the football team plays there. So we think, what can we do taking all the cars to that parking lot? So around 2,000 vehicles made all the problems of mobility in the campus. We changed, and we went to the Olympic Stadium parking lot. Then we decided a shuttle system to pass from this to this, you know, to liberate, to take out the cars. That was the very first action that we needed to do, to liberate, to have all the spaces free. Now, the parking lots are full. And we designed in 2008 a mobility system that could attend everything for mobility in the campus without the car inside the campus. So everything is walking, everything is biking. Some cars, they just pass by, they cannot stay. And at the end, I'm going to be very quickly with that. We recover all our transport with art, with the muralism. We treat the campus as a city in itself. It's a city, so we need infrastructure like a real city. And we decided in 2008 also to design something that it's not very well known, that it's the first bike share system with 2,000 bikes inside. Not even Amsterdam got this Viking system at that time. For using the bike all over, we construct some infrastructure. And now the campus is a very happy place to stay. to live. And as you cannot believe, it's a faster way to move inside this campus. This is the bike inner system. And we have now a bicycle moving, pedestrian moving, and public transport moving inside the campus. I do the relations because when I just get into the UT, I saw this in the page, in the main page, and said, what starts here changes the world. And it's a real thing. Sometimes it sounds like oh, it's a slogan that they put it just for us to feel better. No, what we did in the campus in the U.S., in the CEU, in the University City, grow to the city level because the mayor of the city saw what we were doing as a university, and they asked this team that Benjamin is telling that I was leading to go to the city level. And I'm trying to tell you that for me, this is I don't know what you think, but the Speed Mall it's a great space. Many other spaces in this campus is great. But what could happen if we can replicate what happens in this? We will be here in UT, we will have a very an exceptional space because this is exceptional. And the second phase, the second moment, it's to Mexico City, to this growing movement, growing leveling. The mayor asked one architect that is I consider my master, Felipe Leal, is one of the most known architects in Mexico. He was a secretary of urban development, and he asked, like, okay, let's do it in the city level. Let's do it in the city of the public space. What can we do? And the same team that was working in the campus, we migrated to the city. I'm going to talk about Mexico City to understand what we did, where it come from, how we understand the axis, how we understand the open space as the same as the campus related with archaeological sites, Mexico City, Tenochtitlan. Now we can talk about Tenochtitlan. When you arrive to Mexico City, the main metro station, now it's renamed Tenochtitlan because it's the real name of the city. And it's from 1325. So this year, we are celebrating 700 years of the foundation of the city. You may see what's this map. It's water, it's soil, it's a center, housing. This is the real map. It's a real elaborated map. This is Chapultepec Park, the one I told you about. So this is the ground, the soil ground. And this is the island when everything started in 1350. By 1550, 200 years after, that's the time when the Spanish people came to Mexico, we already gained this amount of ground to the lake. How? How? With that in that moment technology. How can we did it? We did it. Those images are from 3D reconstruction that is in the internet that I can recommend to see it. But in these maps we can see how there were water channels and some parcels, lots that has something very important in Mexico, that is the common land. The land tenure in Mexico, it's communal. It's not a private thing. It's something collective. And that's the main reason the Chinampa system is that made possible to gain space, to gain terrain to the water. It's very simple. A tree that the roots can be in the water, making some artificial slots there, like these ones, connected, and they are trying to not to move. Then they cultivate, they make a system that it's a milpa and the chinampa system for a way of living there. It just looked like that. It's a model, but I think it's very close to what it could see in that time. And this is a rendering of how a community can live now. This is what you know about tourism in Mexico City, but it's related with the first part. And here, there's a mural in the National Palace that I really like from Diego Rivera. You know Diego Rivera. You better know him because he's the was the partner of Frida Kahlo. Now Frida Kahlo is more known, world known than Diego Rivera. And in this part of the mural, there's something very interesting. And a very straight axis, or even axis of more than 2 kilometers, so a mile and something else, that went to the center, and then the volcanoes. Look how the way of a painter or an artist can understand the urban condition at that time, the water channels, the chinampas, and the structures. The structures, they disappear. Spanish people, they tear down and construct a new city. We are happy also for that, because that's why we are now. Those are the 3D reconstruction by this Dutch guy, Thomas Cole, explaining very well this relation with nature. This is the reconstruction. In the site, you can see, and you can do this comparison between today and old days. And it looks like very, 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 very close to what it used to be. This is an example of how Mexico City is a city made of many layers. Obviously, all the cities in the world, they are multiple layering spaces. But here in Mexico, there are many evidence of what has been happening through the years. Everything, history, and all what has happened in the city, it's not only in the books, it's also in the buildings, you know. Last semester I was as a thinker visiting professor in Lilas, and I was looking for some researching for information, and I found out that here the UT has a press in his. They published a book very interesting that is Resurrecting Tenochtitlan. We recommend a good recommendation for a book explaining this multi-layering city as Mexico City. So we're moving on, and 1750, the lake was already dry, as you can see it. We have no evidence of the lake unless you dig and you do some works of foundations. You can get water from the ground, underground. The city was like that. Also in the Benson collection, in the Lilas, in the east part of the campus, you can find all this information. It's really amazing what you have here from Mexico. 1850, it used to look like that. The water infrastructure that came from Chapultepec to the central city. It's also in a map that lies in the Benson collection. And this main axis that we were talking about is the Emperor's Walk. We got an emperor in the end of the 19th century. There are many photographs in the Benson collection about Mexico in that moment. You can see how the fashion neighborhoods in Mexico, they used to look like Roma, Roma Norte, Colonia Juarez. Maybe you have been there when you travel to Mexico. By the early 20th century, this is the main street in Mexico City. By the mid-20th century, this is the one axis I'm going to show it to you, and this is the other one that connects with the center of the Zócalo. This is Reforma Avenue, the Emperor's Walk, and this is the Plaza de la República axis. Just for you to know, by 1930s, we were 1 million inhabitants in the city, and by 1960, we were 5 million. Nowadays, we are around 22 millions in the city. This is Tlatelolco, and it's also another multi-layering, but not one over the other, but the three coexist. Coexistence is something, a concept very important for Mexicans, because we need coexist. That's the main root for community, coexistence, and that's what we need to understand new societies. The old structures from the ancient world to the European settlements to the modern architecture. In fact, this is one of the greatest social housing projects in the 20th century, that it's Tlatelolco, everything together in the same spot. We have crossed to many, we have rebuilt the city many times. We reborn so many times. We have, you know about the earthquakes. The most dangerous ones were in 1985, and the same day, the same month, in 2017. So doing things that you cannot imagine inside the city. And we rebuilt the city. Now it's 20 million people living in the metropolitan zone. But we have something very important that we wanted to boost and to get into a next level, that is the green areas. And I am also comparing with the green belt and all these spaces that not all the cities have, about where to going, where to the reserves, how to connect, how to live, how to use but not build in that spaces. And here lies the thing that is very important. I was in charge of a creation of a new office in the city that we name it Public Space Authority. Something strange, you know, like port authorities, like transport authorities. I was, but this friend and master, a professor that I'm very grateful with him. He named me, and he give me the duty of leading this office from 2008 to 2018, trying to do something that cannot be achieved but only by political will. Political will is something very important. The mayor in that time, they decide and they trust in what we were doing in the campus, and then we did it. This is Jordi Borjas, a Catalan anthropologist, that said, before a technique, architecture and urban design are above all political. Political, not just for politicians, political from the polis, from the democracy. So this is the objective of the Public Space Authority. I'm going to be very fast on this. We were only 59 persons office to do a very big amount of works around the city. In fact, the less we wear, the fastest we act. City level, street level, and detail level, you know? Because everyone was like saying in Mexico City, like, okay, you are doing sidewalks, and you are doing some pavements, and you are doing restoring some parks. What happened with the development of the city? That was the great problem. But the mayor, now the mayor is in the government and is the Secretary of Economy. He's fighting about tariffs. I have plenty trust in him because he had it with us. And we design and we stop and we pause to think, to look, and as I told you, to understand coexistence. That was the main axis. Obviously, pedestrianization and the pedestrian concept was in the heart of the movement, in the heart of the office. Everything was very clear. All the projects that we did were in this relation. First of all, the human beings. First of all, the ones that walk, that we connect with the ground. Then bicycle, then public transport, and at the end, private vehicle. This was our first act, the pedestrianization of the street, Regina Street. I like this photo because I always make the same joke. Have you seen, how do you say, 101 Dalmatians? Have you seen the picture? You remember how they met? They met in a park. Well, those guys, I'm pretty sure they are married today. Look the way he's like in front of the girl. She's nervous. And those guys, they have 101 kids. But not only this. Look, when you take out the cars, like in the campus, a girl can do these actions. A girl can walk with that certainty and with the safeness. Everything grows there. You know? I don't know what. This is very important for us. Michel de Certeau, the sociologist, the French sociologist, said the act of walking is to the urban system what the act of speaking is to language. What happened with the language that we do not speak anymore? What happened with that kind of languages? They die. Because we do not use them anymore. Exactly the same happens with the city. A city that is not walked, it's going to be die. The steps wave the basic structure of places. In this sense, the pedestrian movement becomes one of the systems whose existence forms the heart of the city. This movement that the city has, distol and systole, diastole and systole. The city level scale, the great axis that we can see it from above, from the sky, but in the detail level, it was looking like that. Nobody wanted, because it's a sidewalk. It's for pedestrians. Have you seen pedestrians? Do you know who are the pedestrians? When you can find pedestrians, take a photo of a pedestrian because he's doing or she's doing a hard job in the city nowadays. It looks good from above. It looks good from the car, in fact, but not to walk. Then we change it, and something happens very quickly with this improvement, with this pedestrianization. Something happens very important. Real estate development. The developers, they believe and they understood something very important. Where there are people walking, there's business. So they start. This used to be the cityscape, the city landscape of Mexico City in the Reforma Avenue with some of developers. Then we do the works. We did the works, and it started growing, completing density, more density in the street, in the axis, in this axis that I told you about from the 19th century. Skyscrapers. Richard Rogers said, like, yeah, I want to have my skyscraper here. This is Chapultepec Park, and the photo of the demonstration I told you is when the gates here, they opened. This is Chapultepec Park. Then, by 2015, it's still growing. In fact, they changed from a district to the west, as many cities that use the west to develop, far away from the center, using the car to go there. They start to change all the investment to the center, to the main street, the street where the pedestrians were. And by 2021, we had nowadays a very good development in the place. This is Reforma Avenue, one of the main axes in the city, with all the investment in the city, connecting high density, public transport moving, pedestrianization, good health of economy in that zone. Now, there's another axis, the other one. This is the Reforma, but this one was very historical. This is Avenida de Plaza de la República, Alameda Central, the old park in Mexico City, and the Zócalo that you may see in other parts. I'm going to be quickly. We did it in parts between 2010 and 2012. It used to look like this, with parking cars, parking buses, everything. It used to look like that in the mid-20th century. In fact, this building, it was gonna be the Senate, the Congress building. Obviously, thinking in this kind of axis, thinking that the Congress power will be here, the president power will be the other end, and in the middle, the people with the park. That's the idea of this main axis. We tried to recover that. Obviously, the revolution in Mexico stopped the works, and there was just the steel frame that was left there. Some of the days they made in the 80s and the 40s in an Art Deco style, a kind of strange monument for the revolution. And we did something very important that was our main condition in the public space authority, to shift the paradigm, to change, to do experimentation, to change, to give the places to the people. We made an observation desk in the top of this small monument to understand the city, not in a really high level, but to confront the roofs and many other parts of the city. That's the main axis. Here is the Alameda, the park, and at the end is the Zócalo. But we were inspired by another muralist architect and artist, Juan O'Gorman. You may notice about Juan O'Gorman. Juan O'Gorman is going to be the new Frida Kahlo in architecture. Huh? Look for him. He's the one of the library of the central library in the campus. So 20 years ago, Frida Kahlo was, nobody knew about Frida Kahlo. Now, it's a success. Juana Garment is going to happen the same thing. It's not going to be with Barragán. But look about this precious painting. The volcanoes, like the same in the Mexico City, the axis, but these white hands holding an old map of Mexico, like the one I showed to you, with the lake, trying to confront the immensity, the density of the new city, made by this guy, the mestizo, the Latino one, the brown worker, but technified, the blueprint. So he's a worker, but technified, the one that really raised the city. So what we did in this axis was to put all the infrastructure in the real scale. For us, this is the real scale for a pedestrian crossing. This big, to make people feel the certainty to cross with any danger. You know? Obviously, it order everything. We like law and order. That's our main things nowadays. But design could order everything. This is the main the main park, the Alameda Park. We were walking with the kids the other day over here. It was abandoned, lack of maintenance. And once we decide to clean it, to recover, to reuse it. This is 2010, and this was the other day with the students walking there. It's still, in fact they are. It's an overused space. It's that community. It's that sense of community. It's not a romantic concept. Community is where democracy lies on. Again, Diego Rivera in Alameda. And at the end of the axis, and I'm ending with this, we pedestrianize it's more than a half a mile at the end. A street that it's very historical. You know, this building is still there. It's this building that used to be used by the cars. Many of the authorities said, like, I don't know, it's a normal way of thinking. When I was with the authorities, that for transport authorities, civil engineers, and many people, they say, like, hey, let's do a fence for the pedestrian, for not to go into the road. And I was like, the one that doesn't belong here is the car. It's a different way of seeing the things. They deserve to be here. And we change everything. Look. Also, the sun likes the place. Look, the car is not only the car. It's all the things that are beside the car. And I'm not talking about just tires and gasoline and the impact. I'm talking about in the city that this signing, that this wayfinding signing, look, this is a 17th century story building. Now, and the most important of this is the, I call it equalization, the equity. Everyone is the same. Low income, high income people is the same in the public space. We want it to be very safe at the day, and we want it to be very safe at night. Exactly the same thing because of urban designing, because of pavement design, because of lining design. Connecting with old structures, with the new structures, with the new design. obviously, nobody wanted to do it, not even the commerce owners, the owners of the shops. They say like, hey, don't take out the cars. You're gonna destroy the system. And we say, hey, just give me one day, and then the other day, and I'm gonna close it just with cones. And it happened like that. Then we change the payments when they say, you were right. Obviously, all the things I learned in Barcelona. We pass from this, that in many cities happens, the usage of the ground level and the upper levels for that storage. We pass to have these activities in the city. Obviously, this means taxes, security, public security, and many other things. We pass from that. That was the other day, walking there. So it's almost 15 years after, 13 years after. And I'm ending with the public transport, that it's correlated with the actions we need to solve many of the problems of the city. Mexico City has a big system of public transport that started in the campus. Well, not the metro, but the Metrobus, these small stations, these small stops. We think this way, 42 people, 42 cars, 42 people, 42 better together. One Metrobus. And we tried that one. Remember, guys? A double-decker bus from the first, with the latest technology in our streets. Because people want to get it together, to make community. Then we went electric, and nowadays we have gondolas. Obviously, we learned from many other cities, like Medellin, like Bogota, to move. We are not only in the central areas, we are also in the low-income areas of the city. We use the bike for everything, and we're starting to use in the Sundays the city. This is our biking system, share system. This is the mayor, Marcelo Brown, Secretary of Economy nowadays. Average speed, but this is very important. Nobody believed in the system. By 2002 or 3, there was 1% moving in bikes. Now we are raising to the 10% of population moving in cars. There's no pretext, not even in a city like Mexico that it's raining 9 months a year. And for later, I finish here. Thank you very much. It expands to the nationwide program, but this is for another moment. And thank you very much for your patience, and we are ready for questions or comments. I don't know if someone has some comment, questions, doubts. Yes. Hi.
Thank you very much for your talk, for your lecture. I'd like to ask you if you could expand a little bit about the pace of execution that Madero Street takes. What would be about the institutional arrangements that were needed to go beyond public space? As you were showing some of the data, what sort of arrangements were needed, what other local agencies were called. And the other one is, do you have any, did you got any lessons in terms of bringing private developers and housing into that area? Was it possible, or how do you see it?
Yeah, first of all, we managed a different way. First of all, we founded this agency as a public space authority. So we were an authority. We need to believe, first of all, that we were facing the other authorities at the same level. I was a young guy at that time, but I need to believe that. So we confront everyone with other secretaries, like, we're doing something very important. They say, like, okay, you're doing just pavements and sidewalks. We show how real estate development could change. It was little by little. Obviously, I talk about the political will. We got all the back from the measure. But you may know, I'm sure you know the case of all the mayors in Latin America, that they understand what is happening. In fact, as I said, we learn from the Colombian condition. And second is that nobody believes, because at least in Mexico City, and I think it's happening in many cities, people now are engaged, but at that time, they didn't notice some actions. And we did some workshops. There were, as you saw, there was no duly housing there. There was only shops and storage. So we don't have in Madero. In the case of Madero, we didn't have. We have 3,000 people living there. So it's like in the central. So it was a kind of easy for that. And then we show them other cases that we just work in the Reforma with different effects. What happened in Madero, in fact, and I'm responsible for that, is that everything moves in all the commerce. I used to go to buy books to the American storybook there, that they went out because the rise of the rents. So it's like a kind of gentrification with the commerce. Everything changed. And we cannot manage all the final action for that. But at the end, I think the public safeness, the security, the income, the taxes, or the law and order that I told you about, everything was in an improvement. And we work with Jan Gale's studio for the toolbox. In fact, they were like our partners in the project. But we learned that it's something that I would like to discuss and with Juan Miró, the professor here in UT, we have discussed many things about why we are always seeing the Central European cities, while the solution that we have made in Latin America could solve all our problems. And I mean also America, all the Americas. Why? The whole continent. Because we share many things. We do not share with the Europeans. We share maybe culture, maybe color, maybe other things. But especially talking, culturally talking, we share many things. And many cities should learn about these actions in Latin America with different ways. But yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, rush hours, yeah. No, everything is growing, and it's growing in different moments. So we need more. We need to take out some cars, and we need to have Insurgentes Avenue, for example. Maybe you knew it. I'm always saying, just for public transport, we will be solutions, implementing more and more high-capacity transport. You're right. People, they really need and they really like to go in the public transport. In fact, to come here to the campus, I always use the bus. It's a little bit hard, but we can do it, and it's a joy to share with people. Maybe there's some solutions for that, for sure. Now, I agree with you that in rush hours can be impossible to get. But that happens in Tokyo. That happens in many cities. We cannot go for the comfort of the individualism. Yes.
On that note, first of all, thank you. I enjoyed the lecture. But on that note, I think when trying to, I guess, encourage a large cultural shift like this, it's hard sometimes to convince people about like that comfort and that individuality, especially when it comes to vehicles that people have. They enjoy their privacy or freedom. Um, what have, in your experience, how do you kind of convince people to let go of that idea?
You need to convince people with pilot projects. First of all, you cannot implement things without saying that you need to try, because sometimes even us can be wrong. So what we did is like in the street, in Madrid Street. So everyone was like, over my body, architect. Over my dead body, you will close the street. And I said like, okay, I have to do it. Just give me 1 day. Just give me 1 day to close it with the cones. And I do my math, counting people. And we have stations in balconies and checking. There's more deep information from this project. And you do your maths in your shop. And we meet next week. And they say like, okay, what's good, but try on Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. Try it on Sunday. Sunday. No more than 2 months in front of, they say, close it. Please, close it. Just piloting. Everything is piloting in our condition. Because we need to do some workshop. We need some, but it's so hard that people can't understand this, to go from the comfort, because it's comfortable to have a car. For sure it is. It's nice. But it's not nice, the result. This is the sociological result. That is not nice. We like community. I said community is not a romantic idea, a romantic concept. Community is something that makes democracy, that makes human beings and their relation. And it's not so comfortable to walk and to have the kids can say about how many miles we walked. Because I like to walk.
I think we have time for one more question.
Oh, yeah. 2 more, yeah.
Okay, 2 more.
How can like urban designers or architects in general account for like that's an increasingly hotter summer and there's climate change in general within their designs for walkable cities?
I couldn't get, sorry.
How can like urban designers summers and just general, like, I guess climate reducing the future? Like,
Climate?
yeah, climate reducing mining experiences.
I can say that we were in Yucatan the other day with, I don't know, it's more than 100 and 90% of humidity. And it was like we were in a plaza in La Plancha, remember? But at night. And they go out at night, they hang out late. So we need to change many things. They change. The Yucatecans, the Meridian people, they change their schedules. And it was a nice experience walking in that plaza at night. So, or raining. We cannot fight with climate. We can adapt. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I guess, yeah, like, as an architect, viewing the like moves that are made at such a grand scale and at an urban level, I think inherently as an urban designer, you take on like a lot of risk potentially, right? In the sense that like your design decisions impact so many people, right? And I guess like through the projects which seem to be kind of unanimously a success, right, in terms of the improvements to the city, I guess I'm curious about potentially any maybe like self-perceived failures that you
Yeah.
occurred during this process,
Yeah, sure,
or
many.
potentially not even failures, but moments where there were potentially unanticipated outcomes based off of the flow of urban forces that you may have not anticipated originally when you made those decisions.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big concept to discuss. For sure, we stopped. We went to the walls sometimes because I'm showing the successful things, even the overuse because of this success. There are many projects that we need to recompose. And in fact, Madero Street took more than 2 years to redesign. If you could see the first images, the first rendering for the project, he just, in my head, was like some coffee tables outside, you know? Did you you see how many people were there? It's impossible to have coffee tables outside, but in the rendering. So, like those many others, and with the real estaters, with the realtors, and with the people that they are ahead of the investors, for sure there were many fightings in the reform, and we were back and forth talking where the stations, where the bike share systems, and we, in fact, we made a handbook about the failure in some projects to learn from. Yeah, we have 10, and we say like we have 10 failures. Not for us, because we learn directly. For the next generation to understand that. Yeah, it's very important, the failure and learning from, I said learning, every time learning from the failure. You don't learn from the success, you learn from the failures. For sure. Thank you. Thank you very much for your patience, your attention.